Previously on Libel the Bible.
I question Marco Rubio's patriotism.
I question Yahweh's motives.
Leviticus is basically a lease agreement with the Israelites.
And if you violate any of the terms of that lease, Yahweh will kill you. Or have you killed.
And you must sign the lease, and you can't go looking at other apartments.
And it's a lifetime lease. It's worse than a 1950s Major League Baseball contract.
We learned about the Jubilee year.
And how it's a great time for scumbags.
Yeah, you'd be perfectly suited for it.
And now, episode 30 of Libel the Bible.
What's up, everybody?
This is Rusty, because I'm starting off by saying my name.
Why are you making such a big deal out of that?
And that was Scott, and this is episode 30 of Libel the Bible. Okay. And the reason that I'm saying that is because we already recorded episode 30, at least an hour and 15 minutes of it.
Yeah.
But we didn't introduce ourselves or say what the show was or mention the episode. And we recorded about an hour and 10 minutes.
At least.
And then we realized that at about the 25-minute mark, our audio software stopped recording. So we only had recorded 25 minutes of a 75-minute conversation.
Yeah, that was a real bummer, man. I'm glad we chose not to re-record that night because, we were bummed.
Yeah,
man.
I would not have been able to record later that night. So we have 25 minutes of actual conversation that starts the show. We're going to release that as a just bonus footage. What are you laughing about?
The fans like, yeah, bonus footage. Yeah.
I mean, if they like the show, then, that's something extra for them. They're going to get an episode, plus they're going to get 25 minutes of our discourse at the start of an episode. It'll be probably like unedited. It'll cut off when it cuts off.
Yeah, do you think, should we try and recapture the lightning we captured in that bottle, or we should just go fresh? Like, should we think about what we said the last time around, or just start the episode fresh? Like, try and reenact it?
I don't remember the conversation that we had before you hit the record button tonight. So I don't think recapturing that magic is going to be a problem.
You know what would be really cool to capture? Yeah. Like your old man 1950s baseball contract references.
So, I don't know. I thought that was good. I like that reference.
Yeah, because everybody knows what that means. Yeah.
All right. Well, let us know. Go on Twitter and let us know. We won't be able to respond to you until the next 4 days, because as we talked about in the last episode,
that we didn't send out.
We got, Scott got us banned from Twitter.
Dude,
why
for 5 could you
days.
not just say we got? Like, you were fine. I was like, all right, look at you. We're a team. But no. When something goes wrong, Scott did wrong.
Yeah, Scott fucked up big time. He popped off some shit to Lauren Boebert. I don't even remember if this conversation made the bonus footage.
Well, if it didn't, and because not everybody's going to get the bonus footage, because we don't know what platform we're going to release it on. Maybe some vinyl, like a throwback.
So we talked about that. We talked about Scott fucking up, and this is his second. The first time we got banned for a day. Now we got banned for 7 days. So as of the recording right now, I think we have to serve another 3.
So let me ask you this. So the first one was how long was the ban? 1 day?
24 hours. Yeah.
All right, so now it's 7 days. Now, was it because it's progressive discipline, or the severity of the offense warranted 7 times the punishment as the first offense?
I can only guess. I would guess it's because it's the second offense, and it might be a second offense within a certain amount of time,
Oh, yeah.
And it's a sexual harassment offense.
Wait. Was it?
I mean, sure.
Yeah, it was kind of.
Yes.
It was. All right, for those of you like chomping at the bit, wondering what I did, I came across what's her name? Lauren Boebert.
Lauren Boebert.
Boebert.
Yes.
Yeah, and
or Bo Bear, I don't know.
who the fuck cares what
Banana
her name is?
Fana, Bo Bear.
Yeah, so she posts this ridiculous shit on Twitter, and I'm stupid. It's late at night. I'm responding, and I even said I don't want to get banned like I did the first time. So she was wearing that hip hugging, ass hugging dress with Trump sticking her ass in the camera. So I very innocently wrote 2 words: send nudes.
Yeah, I mean, again, that dates you as
I thought that's what the interwebs were for.
Certainly not a millennial or a Zoomer, Generation Z. That squarely places you in the Gen X / Boomer generation, because
I've seen it on bumper stickers, man.
Send nudes.
Yeah, maybe not lately, but
yeah, I'd say maybe the last bumper sticker you saw that on may have been on the bumper sticker of like a Mitsubishi 3000 GT.
oh shoot, that car was dope.
Right, because, when's the last time you saw one of those? Maybe a Mustang GT 5.0.
Dude, I'm not even kidding you. By my mom's house, there was a car parked in the driveway, and it said "send nudes" on that car. And now that you mention it, it's probably like a late '90s sports car.
Yeah, of course, because that's like when the internet first became like popularized. Before like the 3-4 years before that, like it was for nerds. Like what are you, a nerd? You got a computer? You're on the internet? You're in a message room? And then like 3-4 years later, right around 2000, like it started getting big. And one of the things was send nudes,
Right.
So we talked about that. We talked about Scott's, misogyny a little. We talked about
That was inadvertent misogyny, man.
Well, look, you can't help yourself because you're a cisgendered hetero white male who grew up completely privileged, so you don't know any better.
I don't. If you could just grab him by the, you're liberty, you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
You just go in and right in on him and start kissing on him.
We talked about that. We talked about the Webb telescope, its discoveries, and how in the light of like that first photo that came out, the one with the deep space field showing all those galaxies from 13.5 billion light years ago.
Yeah.
Basically, we talked about...
Man, you did it again, man. You fucked it up last time, you fucked it up this time.
Because I'm saying the word ago, but that's what it is. We're seeing the light from 13.5 billion light years ago.
Billion years ago.
Billion years ago. Correct. I'm sorry. It
light
took
years
the
of
light
distances.
I'm sorry. You're right.
This is why you do the Kessel.
I'm conflating the two. I'm admitting it. Are you going to browbeat me now over my mistake?
Oh, my car does the Kessel run in like 17 astronomical units.
Okay. So I'm just going to say this. You don't have a leg to stand on. If I berate you over a mistake, you now have no right
But you made the same mistake
to
twice.
get indignant about it.
You made the same mistake twice, though.
Okay. Well, sometimes your student, Scott, will repeat a mistake. I guess it's your job.
I only got banned from Twitter. Oh, twice. Yeah, I made the same mistake, too.
So
Listen, but now, compared to what I said the first time to get banned, compared to the second time, which was worse? Come on, the first time was much worse.
I mean, it's all bad, Scott. it's all, I mean, look, in the grand scheme of things, I guess it's not bad, but in the scheme of you're using a brand account, like it's not a good look, if we're being honest.
We decided that I'm going to go on a Training Wheels account.
Well, not a Training Wheels account. Like, you'll, create, a Scott at Libel the Bible account.
Oh, it's definitely going to be Libel the Bible, but
Yeah,
it'll be the Libel the Bible account.
Yeah, whatever it is.
I ain't going to say that stupid shit on my personal Twitter. Don't need to get my ass kicked.
So we had a conversation about James Webb Deep Field photo showing all the galaxies and how it brought to light how even more ridiculous the story of the Bible is, considering the fact that there is, this infinite amount of galaxies out there. And we are on a rock, at the outer edge on an arm of our own galaxy, which is afloat in a sea of countless galaxies.
Yo, so we're like fucking redneck rural, far out in the galaxy.
Yeah,
people.
we're like a backwater in the galaxy.
Yeah.
We're a total backwater.
Yeah.
We're what are we? I think we're 70 5,000 light years, 80,000 light years from like the center.
That's pretty.
We're
pretty
fairly far
we're
from
pretty
the
far,
center.
Yeah.
And
Do you think when we finally show up, they're gonna be like, "Great, here's these assholes."
show up blasting, no sleep till. So, I mean, I don't know. When those pictures came out, it was just like every time science does something, it continues to reinforce my belief in science. You know, even when it's like, yo, we just found out that this isn't real. You know, like we've thought for like years. I can't think of like an example.
What isn't real?
So, you know, like if they had like a particular theory about the Higgs boson,
Right.
and now that they've built the collider and they've replicated Higgs boson, I don't know if this happened, but it's feasible to believe that they ran a particular experiment and it showed that this particular theory wasn't correct. Like they would publish that, you know, like they wouldn't hide it. They wouldn't be like, oh shit, we got to keep this from the public. I mean, there might be some things. I don't know.
You know, that's funny because most humans I've met,
Yeah.
when they make mistakes, or wrong, I won't even call it a mistake, they tend to dig in now.
It's
They
funny.
They don't they don't open their eyes to like new evidence and new information.
It's funny that you're saying this because I was at the park today with Noah and I was teaching him that, like, yo, sometimes you have to take an L. Like, sometimes you're going to be wrong. Take the L. Admit it. People will respect you more, and you've learned something. There's no shame in saying, I don't know. You know, like, I'll tell you this. In my life, I've hung out with many different kinds of people, and there's only one type of person that intimidates me, and it's not because of the intellect. It's because of the way they think. So I can hang out with, like, a NASA rocket scientist, right? And I wouldn't feel mentally inferior to them. I would just know in my head they have chosen to dedicate their lives to studying a
Right.
particular field, you know what I mean, and learning that field. You know, like, I don't understand what they're doing, but I wouldn't be embarrassed to say, you know what, like in a conversation, like at a cocktail party, if I like wander over and they're having a conversation that I find interesting, but I don't understand, I would say, I don't understand like such and such, you know, and I feel no shame in that. Because
you'd be doing that all night. You'd be like ruining his party.
Maybe
Well, maybe not. Maybe he wants
I'd
to
be
be
learning.
impressed.
But I mean, if it was a party at NASA of only NASA scientists,
Right.
but I'm saying, like, I've never felt mentally inferior. Artists, I don't like hanging around artists. You know,
I don't
like,
get art.
because they think a way I don't think. But my point overall is this. So I was telling my son today.
So how do you feel about artists, though?
How do I feel about
Because
artists?
you say a
I
couple of days.
envy artists.
I want you to write down. You're going to talk about your son because you're going to get mad that I threw you off track.
I envy artists.
All right. So, you envy them.
Yeah.
I'm just because you say some things. I don't know if that you're directing hate at them, hate at people. Like in the last full episode we had, you kind of insulted our listeners' intelligence. And I'm like, is that
Sure.
hate though? Should I go in the hate page?
No, but I mean, are we being serious right now, or are we just playing along?
Just playing along, man.
All right. Well, I mean, let's be serious. Like, seriously, I don't hate. Like, I don't think our listeners are idiots. I just think it's like I'm portraying like a persona, like I'm caricaturizing myself. So, like, I don't really think these
Are you
things.
like Alex Jones of like the?
No, I'm not an
Bible
Alex
world?
Jones because Alex Jones is like a grifter. I'm like a satirist, and I'm satiring myself and the world, and like, you know what I mean? I'm just making fun of like everything.
All right, get back to your son.
So when I was at the park with him today, I was teaching him the importance of admitting, like, when you don't know something, or when you're wrong. Like, if you're like in an argument with someone and it comes to the point where you're proven wrong, like, admit that, because you'll learn from your mistake. You will become a better person, and the person that you are dealing with will respect you a lot more.
Did you finish it with? Don't wait till you're 48 like I did, son, to start admitting when I'm wrong.
I'm 49.
But like you started admitting it about a year ago.
But yes, that's exactly what I admitted to my son.
Look what my life turned out to be.
Absolutely. Well, look, it's much easier to give advice. Everyone knows how to give advice, right? No one knows how to take the advice. I'm just saying I was giving out advice, not saying I was living it. Yeah. So, definitely I get what you're saying. People today, everyone's entrenched. But again, everyone's enemy. So it's kind of like in private, in their own groups, they might admit all the things that you point out to them. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you say, well, Donald Trump never really did this, maybe when, like, MAGAs get together, like, secretly, like, they can admit it to one another, but they can't admit it to you because you're the enemy. It's kind of like, don't make fun of my sister. Only I can make fun of my sister.
I got you.
Do you think that? Do you think, like, people, like,
yeah,
really...
I've actually had people in the beginning, and by in the beginning, I mean, like, 4 years ago.
Yeah. In the beginning.
Privately,
I mean, you do have to qualify that because we are talking about the Bible. So when you say the words in the beginning.
Yeah, not 6,000 years ago, like 4 years ago.
Well, wait. So is James Webb wrong? Are they scamming us with Webb by saying 13.5 billion years?
You know how stupid everybody is when it comes to NASA? Of course he's wrong. They don't tell you James Webb been dead.
Oh, shit.
He's not even on that shit.
Wait a second. Wait a second. So you're telling me they steered it without James Webb, like, piloting it to, like, a point in space a million miles away?
Yep.
I don't understand. We're expected to believe that they just put that shit...
Yeah. On fucking autopilot.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That's... What? Is that like fourth grade math? Like, what are we talking about here?
It's nothing. It's like the Pythagorean theorem, right?
Yeah.
A squared plus
I think it's like that high school green book that I couldn't get through.
Mathematics 2?
No, I think that was sequential math 3. That was math, trig, right? Yeah. That was like the beginning of trig.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
No. Sine.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Cos.
Who the hell needs that crap?
Tine. Tan.
Taint.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so listen to this. I was going to... Oh, by the way, let's talk about the production value of this.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I put an old-ass air conditioner in this room because it's baking in New York City right now. Sorry, Europe. That's my privilege talking.
Yeah, Europe is fucking burning the fuck up this week.
Maybe if they listened to Putin, this wouldn't have happened. I have no idea what that means. So yeah, you might get some hum on this. The compressor's running on this air conditioner. This air conditioner, yo, dude, I am pretty sure this air conditioner was at our old apartment like 10, 12 years ago.
You think so?
I mean, it's got that color.
Our old apartment, 10, 12 years ago. We were out of that apartment long before 10, 12 years ago, bro.
Sorry,
yeah, you're old.
Yeah.
10, 12 years to you is like, yesterday.
Yo, the other day when I pulled this out, Yeah, so it even smells funny. But
all right, so let's stop talking about the air conditioner.
So if you're at home, but there's no people here at home.
You're sitting here staring at the air conditioner like it's really means a lot to you.
Do you think 6,000 years ago, if like Moses pulled one of these out and fucking cooled the room, they'd be like, "Whoa, this guy knows God."
I think there was definitely some shit like that was going on. Like there was definitely technology that was being used to fool people. I don't know if it was by Moses, but definitely Yahweh was employing some of that shit. So so all that is a way to say that you might hear an air conditioner humming along in the background of this conversation. Right, we're talking to the listeners.
Yeah, what if this drives somebody nuts?
So, of course, we're going to try and clean it up in post-production, but if it's not entirely gone, we apologize. This is the circumstances under which we are recording.
See, this is one time you didn't have to say, we're going to try and clean it up. Like, I'm having nothing to do with that. That's all you.
It's so weird, Scott. Like, sometimes I incorporate us as a team, this time for a positive, right? I was going to give you, like, some credit for things, and, like, you're like, oh, why are you trying to give me credit? And then when you fuck up, and I rightfully call you for fucking up, you're like, oh, we're not a team now?
Yeah, I just don't want to give me any work. You can give me compliments, but not associated with work that needs to be done.
But I did give you a compliment, and you just said not to include you in it.
Well, that wasn't really a compliment.
It wasn't a compliment, right? But it was
yeah, but you're like, we're going to clean it up in post. That's projecting like you're going to give me work to do in post. Now, if you did something previous to our broadcast that was a positive, you can say we did this. Don't say we're going to do, because that means I got to work and I don't want to work.
I got it. I understand, Scott.
Share the credit for shit that's been in the past. Don't.
Right. You're right.
I think everybody knows what I'm saying.
So basically, you're saying I'm an idiot for assuming that you might want anything to do with the product once we hit stop on the recording button.
First of all, no, that's not why I think you're an idiot.
Oh.
Well, you're not an idiot.
No,
I
didn't say you thought I was an idiot. That's just the word that I pulled out.
Oh, so you didn't say it, but you just said it, is what you just said.
It was just a word. It was like a placard,
wonder
like
you
a
don't
placeholder word.
No wonder you don't remember like half the shit you said.
Yeah, no. A lot of it is just like, I'm like, yeah.
Verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, I'm like, what do I have to do to get by the next like hour with this guy in front of me? What kind of shit do I got to say?
My God. Yeah, there was no way. I was sitting in a hot room with you without wine and without like, you know.
Yeah. Should I turn the light on? It's getting dark.
Do we need this?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Go ahead.
Because I'm going to be reading like from Leviticus 26.
But I want to talk about something before we do that. But go ahead, hit that light, man. And all right, go. There you go. All right, so I got in my car today. I had some weird corporate conference I had to go to in another state. And as I was driving there, I accidentally put on AM radio, and I haven't tuned any AM stations since I got this car. So it's just static, right? So I was like, let me tune in stations I know, like 660, 770. So I got to 660. It was a commercial. I go to 770, and I hear two dudes talking. It's probably about, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the road. And it's two guys. I'm like, let's see what two guys talking on the radio sound like.
Well, 770. Let me predict. What time in the morning was this?
About 7 a.m.
All right, 7 a.m., 770. That's talk radio in New York.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 770 might be... Shit, I can't tell if it's moderate or conservative. I'm going to go for conservative. It's probably a conservative show.
Oh, really?
And No, it's not.
No, it is. It is. I'm just like...
so why use like...
Because you said New York. New York tends to go more liberal than conservative, so...
Not in like who has money, and who has money is who controls the airwaves. Like liberals don't like own like shit.
Oh, but the liberal talk show hosts, night.
That's like different. Yeah, that's different. Nobody wants to hear the liberals like talking about shit because
they're boring.
Right. Right.
So
because all they do is whine about how they can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like we control the fucking Congress, both houses, and the White House, but we can't do anything.
Yeah.
We can't do anything. So you got to vote for us so we have more people that can't do anything for you. We need as many people in both houses that can't do anything for you.
Yeah, because then they feel like they're backed in against a wall, and then we can have like woke mob show up and
it's
like
just
handle
always
shit.
an excuse. Then instead of just mansion, then they'll find like a cabal of like 10 people. Like if they have like 70 people in Senate, they'll find like 20 people that just won't conform to what the president wants, and then they'll be the problem.
Yeah.
So you're in your car,
Listening
you're
to these two
driving to
dudes.
Jersey. Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to, I want to give two dudes a chance and just listen to what they have to say.
Yeah.
Like
Two
the
white
the
white guys.
I'm assuming they're white.
They've been silenced. It's time for white guys to have their say on the radio.
Yeah, thankfully, and
I'm glad you're giving them a chance.
Yeah. I'm assuming they're white. This is going to sound racist, but they sounded white.
Okay.
And they were talking about nothing. And I don't mean like we talk about nothing.
Yeah.
I really had no idea what for like 10 minutes.
10 minutes you gave them. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe 5. They were talking about but it was 5 minutes of like blah 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 blah.
Well, what specifically?
I don't remember what they were talking about because
subject.
it was just like the light switch or it was nonsense.
Okay.
And then it started.
Okay.
So you heard what Tucker said last night? Tucker. So they're on a first name basis with Tucker Carlson.
They like Tucker. They like Tucker.
They like Tucker, and they basically repeated everything I guess he said the night before as it was news and fact. and it was all about oh, so you saw that mass shooting in the mall? One good guy with a gun stopped that shit cold, huh? And I'm like, okay, tell the families of the 3 people that are dead, but okay,
right.
And it was every fucking talking point I hear from every fucking person,
right.
And then it started devolving into fucking Democrats, libtards, woke asshole. Like it was just nonsense. And listen, the crazy part is I actually agreed with some of the points they were making, but they took it to such a level that there was what's your word? There was no nuance to it. It was black and white, extreme. Like the woke mob was doing this while Ted Cruz was saving the world.
They're bad faith actors, right? They're not really there to debate and have like intelligent discourse. They're there to push a narrative and collect a paycheck and keep like viewership numbers.
See, and that's what fucking pisses me off. Like, I don't think for a second Trump. A lot of these bad faith actors that you talk about, these guys that scream the white supremacist playbook and all this stuff. Sometimes I wonder if they actually believe it. Like, do you think Donald Trump gives a fuck about abortion?
No.
About Christianity?
No.
No, it's just he's not genuine. Yeah. So I immediately thought these guys are either fucked in the head, these two, or they're just being disingenuous. And either way, I don't like them.
Right.
But here's why they changed me, man.
They changed you?
Well, they made me feel bad about the way I say something. So the one host, a big mouth. There was one guy that was being a big mouth, and one guy was just like, It
would have been nice if you looked up like who you were listening to.
Oh no, we can. I write it down 770, and I'll check it out.
Okay.
And the guy's like, oh, so I won't be here next week. Well, for the next few days, I got to get my chemo in. And it's it's a good thing. It's working for me. And in my head, I'm like, ha. I'm just fucked up.
Right.
I'm like, because you're such a dick.
Right.
Like, I don't care. I think
we can have that conversation.
I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to become that person, man.
Well, you brought this up.
No, I didn't.
I mean, look.
Who brought it up?
This person is bringing into the world, they are manifesting cynicism into the world. They are cynically, right? Propagandizing.
Nice.
How do you say that? Is that right?
Yes, give me.
They're cynically propagandizing an agenda, right?
Yeah.
That goes against the benefits of their target audience. Their target audience specifically is not benefiting from what they are forcing their target audience to believe in.
You're not.
So they're pushing a political power onto their target audience that isn't looking out for the target audience. And they're playing to their emotions, and they know that they're playing to their emotions, and they're whipping them up into a frenzy, right, cynically.
Yeah.
But those people are not being helped, and the radio hosts know that they're not being helped. So, while on a human personal level, from our perspective, it's fucked up that this guy's got cancer, if you step aside and look at it from the cold, like, balance scales of universal justice, is it the worst thing? Right?
No, I don't want to say yes to that, because I don't.
But you see my point, right?
I want him to live long enough to see the error of his ways. And again, I'm not coming at you as a liberal.
Right.
Like I said, some of their points I agreed with, but they just took it to such an extreme that it was ridiculous.
Right.
But yeah, I like what you're saying, that they know it's wrong, and they're the people are buying.
Well, those
their
are the
shit.
worst people. Worst people.
Horrible.
Yes.
Horrible.
They're cynical.
Anything for a paycheck.
It's cynicism. That's what's her name was. Who was that woman in Trump's administration that used to go on like every channel? She's the one that said
Kellyanne Conway?
Kellyanne Conway, yes. She, in the early days of Trump's campaign, put out like a video like eviscerating him. She was working for someone else.
A lot of people.
And she called him everything that he really was. And then she went to work for him because she's cynical. Like, she will go on, and it's her job, and that's how she treats it. Like, no thought to how his policies will affect humans. You know what I mean? Like, no thought to any of that. Her job is to just insulate him and protect him from like bad press. And that's what she did.
Anything for a paycheck, I guess.
So, yes.
Feed the family.
So those people are the worst people. It's one thing if you believe.
Right, exactly. And I don't believe half these people believe this shit.
Right.
Well, the dumbasses I got to run into in the street every day believe this shit.
Yeah. Even Trump didn't believe it. All his policies that got him elected in 2014, that was all Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon was like the brains behind Trump. Steve Bannon was the reason Trump became like a populist national folk hero.
Right, he was kind of steering the ship, right?
So Steve Bannon believed that we had a tremendous trade deficit with China, and China was fucking us, and we were like buying a lot more of China's shit than they were buying of our shit,
of course,
creating like an imbalance of power, right? And he wanted to like change that, right? So he used Trump. And Trump like started talking about that on the campaign trail. And that's great for people in the Rust Belt because that means if we do that, that's going to bring jobs back. So Trump railed against NAFTA. Trump railed against the TPP, you know, like all these neoliberal trade deals that basically globalize jobs, meaning taking jobs away from Americans.
Do you think Trump misunderstood the meaning of the TPP? He saw trans, and that was it. He was triggered.
That's pretty funny. Honestly, I don't even know if Trump knows what TPP stands for. I bet you, like, if you catch him in the right moments, like, he wouldn't know what it stood for.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to be thinking really sharply.
Yeah.
He needs to have been injected with like that Adderall that makes him sniff like every 5 seconds. You know? That's when he's like real sharp, when he's like But I gotta tell you, as we approach the midterms, I'm really looking forward to like more of his speeches. I want to watch some of his speeches. It's like watching old school WWF.
I totally enjoyed. I hated every single conference he had as president because Americans were dying from COVID. But his rallies are fantastic.
Yeah,
he's fantastic.
Yeah, he says some really fucking funny and fucked up shit.
Yeah, Trump rallies, they're fantastic. So you might notice a little pause in the editing because I said a bad word. I said the R word, and I immediately was like, we got to edit that out. Edited it out. It threw us off. And then Rusty pointed out, so what, I said it. I took ownership. I said it. I'm trying to be a better person, and I apologize for saying it.
Yeah, I mean, Scott wasn't wrong in the sentiment. He was comparing Trump rallies, to something. He didn't get a chance to say what, but he used the R word, like the mentally disabled, the old word that we can't say anymore, the R word. But, like we both immediately recognized that he said the word, and then he felt bad, and he was like, let's edit this out. So we stopped the recording, and then at some point during the recording, he realized it was just better to like own up to it.
Oh, I realized it was better because Rusty said it was better.
All right. So here we are. We're acknowledging that Scott is a boomer.
I'm a work in progress.
And he might use inappropriate language at times, but his willingness to change and evolve as a person is genuine. And so,
Thanks,
and he's willing to admit his mistake. So, hopefully not too many of you will decide to cancel him.
And this brings us back full circle to how this story started about you telling your son to own up when you're,
that's very good,
wrong.
Scott.
So
I didn't even raise you.
Yeah. Well, aren't you in some way raising me now, man?
That was really good. Well, someone's definitely raising you.
I'm getting a rise, man. Rise. All right, you want to pivot into the Bible?
Sure.
We've been babbling a long time.
So we were going to close out the Bible in our last episode, but we decided not to. Today we're going to close out Leviticus. We're going to do 26 and 27 today.
We hope.
What's that?
We hope. Maybe not.
We hope. You think?
We might get real into it and have to do another episode.
Just do 27?
26. And then we'll do just 27.
Oh, so we're not going to do 26 at all today?
No, 26 is first. Why wouldn't we do 26?
I wish that we can go back so you can listen to what you had just said.
All right, well, I don't know what I said at this point, and we will go back.
Because you were like, we might have to do another episode on Leviticus. So I was like, you mean 27? And you were like, no, 26. Another episode would be 27 because this episode would be 26.
You see, thanks for saying I'm trying to be a better person. I'm working on it. And just berating me because I flop some numbers, man.
No, it's not because you flip-flop some numbers.
All right,
it's
man. All right. Maybe you're right.
I
Maybe I'm wrong.
When I said 27... and then we started arguing about it. You looked at me like I'm the idiot. Like, why wouldn't it be 26?
You know what surprised
it wouldn't
me?
be 26 because we're doing 26 now.
Do you know what really surprises me at this point?
Tell me.
50 years into my life.
Tell me.
30-something odd years into my relationship
Tell me what
with
surprises you. You're surprised by a lot of things,
that
apparently.
That you like get so upset when you think somebody's looking at you like an idiot.
Yeah. It's true.
Is that why you just try not to leave the house?
Bro,
it's
I
like
gotta tell
everybody
you.
looks at you like that?
Bro, I would
you should
say,
be used to it is the joke I'm trying to make.
I would say 45% of my life is spent trying, like outwardly trying not to look like an idiot. That's like do you understand the psychological damage that was inflicted upon me?
Wait a minute. So 45% of your life, you're consciously trying not to look like an idiot. Wait.
That's being generous. 45% is like a conservative estimate.
All right. So 55% of the time, you're not going out of your way to do that. So what percentage of the 55% that you're not focusing on do you think you actually look like an idiot? Let's say half. Less than half, because I'll just make it 25%. So 25% of the time, you actually look like an idiot when you're not paying attention. So now 45% of the time, you're consciously doing it. How often in that 45% are you successful as
I don't even know
like
what you're
idiot?
saying. Your words are racing so fast right now.
Yeah.
I don't even think you know what you're saying.
Oh, I know what I'm saying. I'm saying you have not met your mission objectives, man.
I mean, it's funny. Listen, it's definitely a funny tangent that you're going on, but I'm trying to make a human connection with you here, right? And I know you're uncomfortable. I know you're uncomfortable with human connection. So I'm exposing myself to you, right? See, look at you. Look at how Scott's like looking at his notes. He's like, he wants to do everything. Like, he just wants to move on for me opening myself up and giving him an insight.
I'm exposing myself to you. I'm going to go look at my notes.
See, he's making a joke of it. Like, he knows what I meant. He knows I mean emotionally. I'm spiritually. As a friend, like, I'm opening up my soul to you, and you can't stop making jokes because you're so uncomfortable, Scott. You're so uncomfortable. You don't even know what to say right now.
So, rewards for obedience, Leviticus 46.
26.
26, all right, fine. No, it's not.
You see how flustered Scott is? Scott doesn't even know where we are. All right, so... Leviticus 26 is split up into two parts. As Scott said, rewards for obedience and penalties for disobedience.
Yeah, so the beginning of it says he reiterates the same shit. Don't make any idols. Don't carve any images. Don't make pillars. Don't hewn stones. And keep my Sabbaths and
reverence
my sanctuary.
Yeah. So he's basically like, you know, he wants you to do like all these things. And what's important to remember is this is basically God telling them, these are the things you have to do in order for me not to fucking kill you people. Like, if you want me, in your life, and you want me in your life, right?
Absolutely.
Because these are the things I'm gonna give you. He's about to tell them what their rewards for obeying him are. So he's like, you must obey me, or I'll kill you.
Yeah, he's gonna bring the rains.
He's already said it.
Yeah.
But he's gonna reiterate it some more today.
The produce is gonna be fruitful. The fruit is gonna be fruitful.
Okay. So in Leviticus 26, verse 3, he starts, if you follow my statutes and keep my commandments and observe them faithfully, I will give you your rains in their season, and the land shall yield its produce, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. All right. So that's self-explanatory.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Your threshing shall overtake the vintage, and the vintage shall overtake the sowing. You shall eat your bread to the full and live securely in your land.
Those are some nice guarantees. You're going to eat well. Your fields are going to do well.
And I will grant peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall make you afraid. I will remove dangerous animals from the land, and no sword shall go through your land. So that's a lot of shit in there. Let's unpack that for a second, all right?
Sure.
I will grant peace in the land.
That's a big one.
That seems big. That seems like that should have been like a period, and then like another verse should have started. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff was in one verse, verse 6.
Yo, so has someone been saying, yo, peace in the Middle East for 6,000 years?
Yes, it's amazing, right? Well,
Wow.
in fairness, I'm pretty sure Jared Kushner solved it, because he was in office,
Wait.
and that was his job.
Didn't the previous president solve it? He got a peace prize for it.
Don't you
didn't he?
remember?
Yes,
Jared
yes.
Kushner cured AIDS and fucking brought peace to the Middle East. Those were his two
Right.
missions. All right.
Okay.
So he's going to, Yahweh promises.
Cured AIDS? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was in charge of like,
AIDS.
I don't know if it was AIDS, but it was something ridiculous. It was like ridiculous. It was like peace in the Middle East was like big enough, but then he was responsible for like some domestic like shit that was like basically or curing cancer.
Listen.
It was like something.
If I know that administration, he was like going to be like a head of a staff, and he's like, "Yo, these are your AIDS, so take care of the AIDS." He's like, "HIV, I'm on it."
No, if I knew that administration, there was probably a buck to be made in like curing AIDS. They were trying to like look into that.
Somebody found the money in the cure for a change.
Yes. Well, look, Elon Musk probably one of those like oligarch scumbags. So, peace in the Middle East, and you shall lie down, and no one shall make you afraid. So you can go to sleep at night, no problem.
On the subway,
It's awesome.
in the park,
Yes.
naked, no matter.
I will remove dangerous animals from the land, and no sword shall go through your land. So these are two different guarantees of safety. One against animals, one against enemies. No sword, no like fucking leopard eating you.
All right, so now I'm assuming they appointed a crew to like round up the dangerous animals.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think like a woke mob was following them? Like, why are you always picking on those animals? They never did nothing to nobody.
Yeah, those animals are just reacting to the oppression that you have placed upon them. They're just reacting to the years and years of hunting that they had to endure.
And you think a bear wearing a funny hat stealing your picnic basket is really dangerous? Come on.
I mean, really. So, you shall give chase. This part is funny. We talk
No sword through your land.
and no sword through your land.
And now I think we discussed in the Lost edition was did he mean like no enemies are gonna come with swords and like it's a metaphor for like combat and
Right. And
or-
didn't you bring up
that flaming sword from the Garden of Eden?
the
Even
Garden
that
of
locked
Eden
the garden.
sword? Right.
Like imagine that thing was just flying through the neighborhood.
No swords through your land. I mean,
Like
yes.
I'm not gonna, my magic sword's not gonna come. I'm gonna all right.
Like Thor's hammer. Like you can't just stick out your hand.
Yeah.
So now, this is the funny part. This is the part that I found funny because he goes on to say in Leviticus 26, verse 7, you shall give chase to your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. 5 of you shall give chase to 100, and 100 of you shall give chase to 10,000. Your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. He's basically inflating them with a false sense of like their own like physical prowess and superiority. And he's saying, yo, 5 of you will be able to fuck up 100 soldiers, and 100 soldiers will be able to fuck up like thousands of soldiers. And like basically he's about to leave them. He's getting like all the food that he wants. He's getting all the fuel that he wants, right? And while like they're doing that, he's like, yo, you're the fucking best, man. Yo, all you got to do is stick with me. Stick with me. Right. Stick with me. You're going to like plow through armies like a hot knife through butter, right? And then what's going to wind up happening is he's going to take off, right? But they're going to be like, we're with God. And they're going to get fucked up.
Does that happen in history? Like, do they get fucked up?
The Jews? I mean, the Israelites that we're talking about are eventually going to become the Jewish people. And are you asking me
Nothing bad happens.
like
to
if the
them.
Israelites and the Jews become
right.
successful?
All right. So did God
Yahweh.
I'm sorry. Did Yahweh show this? Like, was there ever a time where 100 guys chased 10,000 guys?
I don't know. It might happen later on. We'll see.
All right, so it just reminds me of an old Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Okay.
where Jerry was messing with Tom like Jerry always did. Jerry was a freaking instigator, man. I'm sorry for the older people out there. I'm on Team Tom.
He was a piece of shit.
Yeah, it was just
Let's call him what he is. He was a piece of shit.
Let me take his milk. Let me
Oh,
fucking wake
like
him
Tom's
up.
like performing a concerto. Like, let me just casually like fucking lie here on the piano, distracting Tom while he's like in front of a fucking audience in a tuxedo. Yeah,
a tux. Not like holy shit. This cat is the
Jerry's a piece of shit.
Yeah, piece of shit. So then, Tom, for some reason, Jerry became friends with a bulldog. And, like, I don't know, he took a tack out of his foot, like a lion or something.
And that's another funny thing about that cartoon, by the way. You would think, like, bulldogs were, like, the nastiest, meanest, like, fucking animals around.
They're not.
Man, you just punt that shit away, man. And they're super friendly and, like, loving.
Like a Frenchie would probably, like, kick a bulldog's ass. Bulldog can't be bothered with it.
Yeah.
So, and the bulldog gives him a whistle.
Yeah.
And he goes, anytime Tom...
No, that's not how he said it.
Whistle.
He's like, and he's like a real New Yorker, this bulldog. He's like, whenever you got a problem.
No. That's a different cartoon. It might be the same story.
No, the bulldog and Tom and Jerry
the New York gangster was
like
a cat. Weren't they like the city cats? Like the...
In the cartoon, in the Tom and Jerry cartoons, the bulldog definitely... Any like villain and wise guy always had...
He was like, if you need anything, just whistle. No, I didn't know. I think we're mixing up two cartoons, but probably the same story. We'll look into it, man.
When we go off the air, I'm gonna play you the voice of the bulldog, and you're gonna tell me that you're right, and I'm gonna put a check in the box of the spreadsheet that I'm keeping on Scott.
So
stupid or funny.
So.
So for those of you that don't know,
which is everybody,
I'm always stunned by what Scott doesn't know. Like, because Scott is a really intelligent guy, right? But apparently, I'm learning that like he doesn't know a lot of like there are facts that I would have thought that he would have known that he doesn't know, and it's shocking to me because of his intelligence that like how could you not have come across this particular fact? But Scott is also fucking severely sarcastic, and his humor runs to dry sarcasm where he'll just deadpan something. It comes from his dad, where he'll just deadpan say something completely sarcastically, saying the opposite of the reality. But at this point, I'm not sure, is Scott being funny or is he stupid? So I've started keeping a spreadsheet of Scott funny or stupid, putting check marks. So far, it's 2 check marks in the stupid column. Scott didn't actually know those things. He wasn't being funny. So now we're going to look up cartoon characters.
Are we going to put that on the website?
What's that?
Your spreadsheet.
Yeah, sure. We'll put it up.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, the bulldog says, you need anything, just whistle. So now Jerry fucks with Tom on purpose so he can blow the whistle and have the dog fuck up Tom. And then the dog goes away. Like Yahweh's going to go away.
Yep.
And Jerry fucks around, and he finds out what happens when the whistle don't work. Because the dog's in the pound now. And Jerry gets his ass kicked.
That's how the cartoon ends. And then, like, Tom
dog's
is
in the
chasing.
pound,
Yeah.
Or in the
he's in the paddy wagon looking out between the bars, like, all depressed. Yeah. So this is what's going to happen between Yahweh and the Israelites. Absolutely. So he continues. He says, I will look with favor upon you and make you fruitful and multiply you, and I will maintain my covenant with you. So if you follow me, in addition to like, you know, your great fighting ability, you're going to have great fucking ability, apparently, because I will make you multiply. Like, I am going to make your semen so fast, and I'm going to make, like, the women's ovaries so want to accept your, like, semen that it will fertilize, and, like, there will be kids abound.
It's like that old rapper that was telling that girl, like, I know your man Superman, but he can't do anything with his little worm. But I'll fuck you up with my super sperm. Totally ruined the lyrics, but you know the song.
Was that
it was a hip?
Who's the host of America's Got Talent? Nick Cannon. Is that like Nick Cannon rap?
No.
Because he's got 70s. He wants to get the whole planet pregnant.
He's doing a good job so far.
He has, I don't know how many kids. I want to say 8 or 9. You know who has a lot of kids?
Elon Musk.
David Gilmour.
Really?
Yeah, David Gilmour has I think 9 or 10 kids, but only with 3 women.
And probably none of them hit him up for child support after he flipped out in that trailer and started beating the roadie up with his guitars and.
That wasn't David Gilmour, man. That was a movie.
That was Pink. That's right. Not Pink. Today's fantastic pop artist.
So this would be for those of you that aren't sure what I was talking about a few minutes ago about Scott, stupid or funny. This would be one of those things where I don't know, he was probably being deadpan sarcastic, right? So he was being sarcastic, but it was just an example for people to understand.
So God's going to have, Yahweh's going to give them so much food, they're going to have to eat all the old food to make way for the new food.
Yeah.
That reminds me of an episode of Taxi. Remember that show?
Sure.
So in the garage, it was an old cab company. They had a vending machine, and they had apples in the vending machine. Shit was weird in the 70s. But they only had old nasty apples in the 70s.
Shit like that is back now. They have healthy options and vending machines.
Well, these apples weren't healthy because they were complaining about the apples were all nasty and soft and rotted with worms in them.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yo, man, how do we get some new apples put in the machine?" And they were like, "Yo, you got to eat all the old apples." But then the vendor thinks you like old apples.
Yeah.
So they just keep putting old apples in it.
Yeah. So that's what Yahweh's telling them. You're going to have to
eat all the old apples to make room for the new apples.
Yeah.
But I bet you somebody was like, "Are you sure he's not tricking us?"
No, I think he's saying you're going to have to clear out all the old shit to make room for the new shit.
Yeah.
So then he goes on to say, "I will place my dwelling in your midst, and I shall not abhor you." First of all, does he even know if they want him living with them? He's if you do everything I say, you'll have the honor of me living with you.
Do you think?
No. I try not to.
What was the movie?
Rocky.
No.
Grease Lightning.
No. More recent.
Die Hard.
Kylo Ren.
Star Wars. Revenge of the Hope. The Sith Lord. Obi-Wan.
There was one of the movies. I want to say
Rise
it
of
was
Skywalker.
No. It was I think it was Force Awakens. The first new one.
Jedi's Revenge. Last Jedi.
All right.
The Last Jedi.
It wasn't the Last Jedi.
That was the second one.
It was I think it was the first new one, the Force Awakens.
Okay.
Do you remember he threw a temper tantrum?
Yes, and he smashed up the whole console.
And 2 stormtroopers are walking by, and they hear the ruckus, and they stop. They turn around. Do you think Yahweh living in their midst, everybody's having a good time, and chill, Yahweh's here, man.
Do you understand what kind of a bummer? It would be like you throwing one of your ragers back when you were a teenager, and your parents coming back early from the Adirondacks and catching you in the act. That's that's what that's akin to, having Yahweh live with you. Because you're partying, you're bowing down to golden calves, you're having sex in weird positions, not to have kids. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there's some oral involved, maybe there's a handy in an alley somewhere, maybe there's some anal if you're lucky every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe 2 dudes want to start experimenting.
No. Why wouldn't 2 dudes be included in any of the things that I've been saying?
Because
2 dudes can't have oral or anal or
because
handy.
He previously said
no,
it's an abomination.
But you said or 2 dudes. I'm saying what I was saying included
right. You see that movie Ted? Ted. With the teddy bear and Mark
We've
Wahlberg.
talked about this. I know the movie. I've seen scenes.
There's a great scene.
I haven't seen the whole movie.
There's a great scene where they talk about opening up a restaurant.
You ever see that movie, Ted? Now I'm going to allow you to talk for 3 seconds answering that, but I'm going to cut you off because I'm not really interested in your answer. It's just an introduction for me to monologue.
It was a yes
so then
or
just
no
monologue.
Question. It was a yes or no question. Now I'm not going to monologue.
I didn't see the movie Ted. But that provides no context because I know what Ted is and I've seen scenes from it. I'm more nuanced than yes or no. I thought we've discussed how like ridiculous it is to be not nuanced.
All right, but you don't have to be overly nuanced to the point of being a pain in the ass.
I like to fuck with you, man. I like watching you get frustrated, and I like watching that vein on your head like fucking come out, and you trying to be patient with me and like not yell because you're trying to like portray yourself as like the calm one in the podcast, and then as soon as like we stop recording and go downstairs, you're just like frustrated and angry. You're like an alcoholic dad that like abuses his wife. You like come home from work and just start slapping me around. But on the air, you're all like putting on airs like we're in church. It's just funny to fuck with you.
Are you describing me or what you want me to do to you after the show?
Whatever.
So, and I will not abhor you.
Oh, you don't want to continue with your TED?
Fuck that, man. You already blew it up, man. Yeah, so...
but I will not abhor you.
They talk about opening a restaurant. It's a great scene. It's very inclusive, their restaurant. Yeah, I will not abhor you. So abhor is like the worst.
Did you just say abhor? Abhor?
How do you
is
pronounce
it? I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I would say that.
Oh, but you were pretty vocal about it.
Well, I want to have a conversation.
Okay.
I think
let's conversate.
Abhor and abhor are both acceptable.
I say abhor, I think.
Do you think abhor is acceptable?
No.
No. You. All right.
Anybody who blasphemes the abhor should get stoned to death.
Wow.
Hey, it's good for Yahweh, it's good for me.
All right, you've convinced me.
All right.
Do you how on the do you want to be? Like, is it like subtle? Like just like I just hear it?
It definitely needs to be the beginning of a syllable.
So if I say it like this, I abhor you. Is that okay?
That's fine.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Because I got a box of rocks right here. The moment you spell it, you pronounce it wrong.
Go ahead.
All right, so abhor is a really fucked up word.
Yep.
Like, it's worse than, he's all right, I dislike him, I don't like him, I hate him. Abhor is like next level hatred.
Yeah. It's like a nuanced hatred. There's like, there's like hatred plus disgust and like pity and like whatever would go into like.
Plus, I couldn't get a date when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole bunch of shit rolled up in that. Well, he's been saying since day one, I got rainbows up in the sky.
I mean,
he
really doesn't have a lot of patience for anyone who like messes up even one thing.
Do you think, in retrospect, he would have chosen a different group of people?
No, I think he chose the right group of people. He chose the worst possible group of people, right? Because they're assholes, these people. Let's be real.
So far, yeah.
Let's be real. They've witnessed what they should believe are miracles, but yet within like 2 weeks, they're ready to like completely ignore what he says, right? So what I think he's doing is he was like, him and his group of like travelers were like, we really need to sort of scam our way into food and fuel. Which group of people shall we pick to like run this scam on? And they were like, in order not to compromise our moral values, let's choose the shittiest group of people to scam because then we won't feel so bad.
By shittiest group of people, he means the most oppressed under the whip of the Egyptians.
They weren't. They chose Abraham. And then his eventual people, so they weren't even like, he led them to be fucking slaves. Yahweh's the one that told like Joshua or whoever had the Technicolor dream code, Joseph, he's the one that told him, yo, go get your father and bring him to the land. And all the Israelites, he's the one that like forced slavery on them. Then he disappeared for like 400 years while he was in cryogenic stasis. It was all a plan to fuck with the fucking Israelites.
Holy shit. I think we're done for tonight.
You think so? You think that's the revelation?
Crap. Let's do Leviticus 7 next week.
It's great that we recorded a second time. We came upon that revelation.
He plays the long game, this guy.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's smart enough,
right? You know what? It's not really the long game. If you're going into cryogenic freeze, like if you know something's going to take 700 years, you can set it in motion. No, but when I wake up 5 minutes from now, it's 700 years.
They're definitely diabolical geniuses. You know what I mean? So they're choosing the Israelites because the Israelites are shit. So I mean, come on. We've
I'm
seen.
going to throw my disclaimer again.
Yo, do you remember when, was it Isaac? Isaac was Abraham's son, and he went to live with that person. He saw that woman that he loved, and the person was like, you can marry her, and I'll send her to you tonight. But instead, he sent his other daughter.
Yeah, there's so many
Do
shit
you remember that
characters.
whole, like,
There's so many
fucking
shit
story?
characters.
All
There's
right. So what I'm saying is, like, that was, like, also an Israelite. He was, like, Abraham's brother, that piece of shit.
Do you think the Bible was actually a slanted news reporter?
It was like Fox News propaganda.
Or any news propaganda. Like, you only see these people in the worst light. You only see these people getting arrested, these people committing crimes.
Yeah.
So this whole Bible has been Israelites doing stupid, fucked up shit.
Right.
Almost like, you see how these people are? And like people walking down the streets, like, grab their children closer when they see them.
I mean, I
coming
don't think so, because this is intended for, like, the Israelites to read, like, the ancestors of not the ancestors.
Maybe.
What do they call them? The children, the future
Descendants?
generations.
Descendants.
The what?
The descendants.
The descendants. That's right. That's the word I was looking for. Okay.
Yo, whoa.
Yes.
Yahweh descends. I wonder if the word descendant comes from the ship descending.
Yes.
Yeah.
I already told you, every time you, like, have these wonderings, the answer is yes. And I will walk among you. This is Leviticus 26, verse 12. And I will walk among you and will be your God, and you shall be my people. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be their slaves no more. I have broken the bars of your yoke and made you walk erect.
Giggity.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. So that's going to get us to... So, by the way, let's not just gloss over how he, like, fronts like he is the Lord your God.
Oh, it's
your God, capital G.
It's almost at the point we don't even have to say it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we can come up with, like, a drop that just basically that's what that
Yeah,
means.
at this point, you know, it's kind of like
boing.
it's kind of like every fucking song that Dre comes out with. Every song that Dre comes out with, go back. Anybody that's listening, go Dr. Dre. Every song is this.
Drake or Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre. I'm Dr. Dre.
Oh, I thought you said Drake.
No. Every song that Dr. Dre comes out with is basically this. Yo, I'm back. You thought I was gone. Well, fuck you, you piece of shit. I've always been the best rapper there's ever been. I don't know why you thought I wasn't going to come back. I came back just to tell you that you're a fucking asshole for thinking that I'm not going to come back. And check out how fresh this song is. That's every single Dr. Dre song. Go listen to his entire catalog. Every song is that basic premise, right? That's what God is like. God is like, and I'm your Lord, and don't forget.
You know what you just did? You
What?
added to the list. Dr. Dre could be Yahweh, could be God.
Oh, shit. I mean, he's rich enough to have, like, invented or bought, like, a time machine and gone
shoot,
back.
For real, yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw Straight Outta Compton. He sounds like a cool dude, too.
All right. So, let's get to the penalties for disobedience. We found out all the great things that the Israelites will benefit from as a god. And we're going to get to the penalties for disobedience.
Let's face it, this is more interesting.
This is really good. All right. So, Leviticus 26, verse 14. But if you will not obey me and do not observe all these commandments, if you spurn my statutes and abhor my ordinances, you like my pronunciation just now?
Good job, man. Keep it going. Keep going. Man.
So that you will not observe all my commandments and you break my covenant, I, in turn, will do this to you.
What? What's he going to do?
All right. Are you ready for this? All right. I will bring terror on you, consumption and fever that waste the eyes and cause life to pine away. You shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it.
Let's get back to the first part, where he's going to melt your eyes out and shit.
Well, no, the first part was consumption and fever.
What was that? What was the next part?
So he says, I in turn will do this. I will bring terror on you.
Right, I heard
So that's
that.
the first thing. Consumption and fever that
Yeah, I
waste
heard
the eyes.
All right, waste
Okay.
the eyes.
Fever that okay. Fair
Yo, is
enough.
that like that whole Raiders of the Lost Ark shit when they opened the Ark at the end of the movie and all the Germans like fucking their eyes melted?
I mean, they were afraid and they did suffer consumption. Yes, but I don't think it would be in that speed. I don't think it would be like that quick. It would be like over like days and weeks.
Well, yeah, because these are other offenses, but like you open up the Ark, that's you're going straight
Yes,
to
but
melting.
I think in this particular case, if you're disobeying Yahweh, he's telling you he wants to watch you suffer. So it's not going to be quick. Like he's going to watch you, like he's going to make you slowly waste away from consumption.
I'm gonna Raiders of the Lost Ark you in slow motion, motherfucker.
Yes, it's going to be like that. But
don't call it a comeback.
yes, okay. Now.
So the enemies are gonna eat it? Like what like they're just gonna walk
He's
in and eat
basically
shit?
saying like if you whatever you plant, like you're not even gonna have a chance to eat it because your enemies are gonna eat it.
Nice.
All right. I will set my face against you, and you shall be struck down by your enemies. So that's the worst thing. I will set my face against you is basically like a parent that refuses to talk to you over like an indiscretion, you know? And like, let's say they go like years and months and they don't talk to you for like an indiscretion. Let's say you got a bad grade, you know, or let's say you didn't wash the dishes, or let's say whatever. And then all of a sudden, a parent, the person you love.
No wire hangers.
What's that from?
That was an old movie, Mommy Dearest. I think it was some psycho mother.
Okay, Joan Crawford reference. So you're making fun of my Major League Baseball references, saying people don't know that players in the 1950s
And that movies in the 50s.
had terrible contracts and had to like work in the offseason. People won't know that, but they'll know your Joan Crawford and Betty Davis reference.
So you think people like the Israelites' enemies, like were walking down the street one day and they ran into Yahweh and they panicked because Yahweh's no joke. And then Yahweh's like, yo, stop, trust me. No, we're going to go fuck with the Israelites now. Like, because they broke my covenant. So, because they're going to fall by their enemy's sword.
Yes.
So, wow.
I think that's
he
what
said, I'm going
happened.
to put my face against you. Like, so he's going to show up with, like, the ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or the new girlfriend or whatever. Somebody's
The
girlfriend.
new girlfriend?
Someone you don't like, man.
Yeah. All right. Why is it so binary? Why has it got to be a girlfriend? So binary, Scott, man. Open your eyes. All right. Verse 17. That's the one we just read.
Let's put the machine back and forward.
No, actually, we didn't read verse 17. I will set my face against you, and you shall be struck down by your enemies. Your foes shall rule over you, and you shall flee, though no one pursues you. So I understand
You're
your foes
crazed.
ruling over you,
It's going to make you
but you're
batshit
fleeing.
crazy.
Right? You're paranoid.
Oh,
I'm gonna
for
make
real.
you. I'm gonna make you totally paranoid. Okay.
taking a shower. You might open your eyes and find someone standing there.
And if in spite of this you will not obey me, I will continue to punish you sevenfold for your sins.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Again, with the weird numbers, like why 7 times?
It's always
5
been
times
7,
10?
right? There's always been a punishment for like 7 generations or
Yeah,
whatever.
and I thought like lucky 7 was mentioned at one point, so maybe unlucky.
That's what
7
it is.
Too. It's
Yes,
like an unlucky 7.
absolutely. Yes,
All right,
that's
cool.
what it is. Yes, every reference always goes back to the fact. This is, by the way, how like 9/11 conspiracy theories are born. It's like just like people that are like, I wonder if, and some idiot like next to them is like, yes, write that down.
Write that down.
Next thing you know, you've got the Illuminati.
Barack Obama is 19 letters. There were 19 rules. There were
Exactly. I wonder if the right.
Then you find out it was 18 letters. You dick. You know your math didn't even work.
I will break your proud glory, and I will make your sky like iron
Hold on.
and your earth like copper.
Okay, I'm sorry. I should let
Go
you
ahead.
finish. Then the first part. I'm gonna break your glory. Is that what he says?
I will break your proud glory.
All right, so like it's some dude standing like on top of the hill, penis out, full erection, arms akimbo, like he's all proud of his glory.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and God goes, Pony's disease. Now you got a bent carrot.
So in fairness, I'm thinking if you're following God's rules, then he won't do that to you. But if you stop following God's rules, then he will break
Now,
your
sky
proud
like
glory.
iron, earth like copper.
Iron is like heavy.
Yeah, what the fuck does that mean?
Maybe he means the color of iron.
Like it's constant storm clouds.
Yeah.
And earth like copper.
Barren.
Not
green.
Like, yeah, new copper. Like that barren bronze color, beige color, whatever.
Right.
Copper color.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us what's your knowledge of copper color?
It's like copper color. It's like a bronze, goldish. Looks like a
And
shiny new penny.
what's the new version versus the old version?
No. It's copper. It's oxidized. It turns green.
Oh, okay.
So he's not talking about green,
right.
Because you don't want.
Right,
He's not talking about your land being green. He's talking about
Right.
it being brown and rusty looking.
And most copper is probably already oxidized because it's been around for a while.
To some degree, at least. Yeah.
Right.
It's a dingy thing. I think he's basically saying he's saying there's not going to be anything on the ground except burnt out grass.
Yeah.
And it's going to be storm clouds.
I don't
never
understand.
Rain.
So basically, if I'm reading this right, Yahweh is imploring people to obey him, right? And he's threatening them.
He's not imploring, he's threatening.
Yeah, he's threatening them. So that's the motivation that I have to obey Yahweh. If I don't obey him, horrible things will happen to me.
Somebody said to a kid named Little C up in the Bronx once, it's better to be feared than respected.
Is that Bronx Tale?
It is the Bronx Tale.
I lived in that neighborhood. I lived right where they were filming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your strength shall be spent to no purpose. Your land shall not yield its produce, and the trees of the land shall not yield their fruit. So what, if you're a farmer, like nothing you do will work. Right. Your shit's gonna be fucked up.
He's just spinning your wheels.
Right.
He's doing backsies.
Yeah.
Like the Israelites are like, yo, no backsies.
Well, he's saying, I will give you all this stuff if he's always amending the terms of the deal or agreement.
I'm not doing it.
Verse 21. If you continue hostile to me, this didn't make sense to me. I understand if I was not reading this properly. Grammatically, it doesn't seem right. If you continue hostile to me and will not obey me, I will continue to plague you sevenfold for your sins.
Again, I don't know. Like, all right. So let's say I pray to a golden calf, an idol. How do I get punished 7 times for my sin? Like, what's 7 times worse than praying to an idol?
It could be like a lot of things. It could mean like, so in other words, if he's saying he's going to turn the sky gray or iron, that's 1-fold. He's going to turn your shit to copper, that's 2-fold. He's going to have like animals attack you, that's 3-fold. Or it could mean your son, your son's son, your son's son's son.
Oh shit, they like doing
like
that.
Generational sevenfold.
Or maybe he puts the entire congregation like in a lunchroom, and the guy coming in and says, "You just bought yourself another week. What, you want to go for another?
Eat my shorts."
Does Barry Manilow know you raid his wardrobe?
All right. So, I will let loose wild animals against you, and they shall bereave you of your children and destroy your livestock. This is fucked up. So he's not just going to fuck you up. He's coming after your kids. If you fuck up, if you're not following his rules, he's going to have animals eat your fucking children.
Wow. The only thing worse than that would be like aborting like a 12-month embryo.
Scott, I gotta
12
say,
week, 12
I gotta say. So I know it's abhorrent. It's terrible as a parent to think about it, but I'm going to tell you as a parent. There was like 5-6 years ago when that fucking like alligator ate that kid at like Disney World. Remember that? They were like at Disney World in Florida, and they were like inside the park, but there was like a part of the park where there were actually like signs about like alligators or whatever, you know what I mean? And an alligator. And the boy that he ate at that time, the family was on vacation from like Ohio or whatever. I can only imagine they had spent like money saving for their trip to Disney World. They went, and that boy was the same age as Noah. Amy and I could not imagine what it must be like to have a child not only die, but the last moments of that child's life to be fucking dragged into water by an alligator, to be rolled around underwater.
They roll. They like to roll, man.
Right? Can you? It's like I can't. So this is what Yahweh is telling these people is going to happen. He'll like set hyenas or whatever animal is around in that wilderness of northeast Africa.
He acts up a lot, man.
The Arabian Peninsula, the Sinai Peninsula. So anyway, he's not done. It's not enough.
All right.
They shall make you few in number, and your road shall be deserted. He's talking about the animals. The animals shall make you few in numbers, and the roads will be deserted, because you don't want to be out on the street because you're going to get eaten by an ostrich, whatever the fuck he said.
Sounds like a COVID shutdown. No big deal.
It's fucked up.
Stay in the house.
Okay. Verse 23. If in spite of these punishments you have not turned back to me. So he's still giving you a chance. Because why wouldn't you turn back to him?
Because they're stiff-necked people. That was the word we were looking for the other day.
Stiff-necked. That's right. That's great. I love it. They're stiff-necked. Yo, at this point, though, I would argue that if someone has basically laid waste to your farm, they've sent animals to eat your children, I would say at this point, crawling back to them is kind of dehumanizing them. At this point, it's almost like, why don't you just kill me then? You know what? Because I'm not going to worship you.
That's not what I'm pulling out of this.
No.
I'm pulling out of this dude, crawl back to him. How much stupid shit are you going to do at this point?
So now you're going to crawl
play
back
along. Yeah. Play along. It's like that song Silent Running from the 80s. It's about, you got taken over.
Spring love.
No. It's like someday sons and daughters will rise up where we stood still.
Yeah. If only the Russians loved their children like we do.
Yeah, exactly. All that shit. All them good songs. Man. Man, they're deep, man. 99 Luft balloons are coming for you. Yo, so these are stiff-necked people. If he's at this point, dude, man, you need to suck this up, man.
Right.
And just say, this ain't working. I'm gonna.
Right.
Because it's an overwhelming enemy. It's not like you have a fighting chance.
Right. You know what it is, too?
And all these people I'd rather die on my knees or die on my feet than live on my knees. No, fuck that, man. I'm going to live on my knees because eventually I'm going to jump up and hit you in the jugular.
No, it must be exhausting. You're right. It must be exhausting having to work with these people, but I think this is the pressure that Yahweh's under. In the movie The Martian, right, NASA and the astronauts stuck on Mars, the titular...
Giggity.
How do you say that word? Titular?
Titular.
The titular.
Yeah.
The titular. I've only read that word. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that word. So I don't know, so the titular character, they have to coordinate together, NASA and him, because there's a very specific plan, because there's launch windows and things are in motion, right? I'm assuming Yahweh and the people aboard the mothership, there's also a window within which they must they've mathematically calculated this is the time that we have. The galaxies rotate, remember, everything's
sure.
So there's probably a window within which they have to leave Earth in order to maximize their fuel and food in order to reach their destination. And these motherfucking stiff-necks are fucking around. They're not doing what he needs them to do.
And Yahweh's a middle management guy that really looking for a promotion.
So what's going on is someone on the mothership is applying pressure to Yahweh, right? And they're like, yo, you see how we're fucking applying pressure to you? You better fucking get down to earth and start applying some motherfucking pressure. So he's just like, he's under pressure. So he's got to like be like, yo, man, I'm going to send some hyenas after your kids if you don't do what I say.
Oh, my God. So Yahweh is Dr. Dre. When he's not that, he's a middle manager under a lot of pressure.
He's got to prove that he can handle this. For all we know, Darth Vader's his boss.
Right?
You know what I mean?
I was kind of thinking that. Like, he goes up.
He's about to
and
choke
Vader's
him now.
Vader's like, yo, what's up with the supplies?
Yeah.
Yo, man, you have no idea how stiff-necked these people are.
Or Yahweh is Vader, and there's like a Darth Sidious up there somewhere,
Yahweh's Darth Vader.
I mean,
wait, we're adding too many things to the list, man. No more what he could be references.
Right. So, in spite of these punishments, if you have not turned back to me, but continue hostile to me, then I too will continue hostile to you. I myself will strike you sevenfold for your sins. I mean, yeah, we got that. Wait, did I read that already?
So
No.
So when you go low, no, he says sevenfold like 3-4 times.
Then I too will continue hostile, blah, blah, blah. I will bring the sword against you, executing vengeance for the covenant. And if you withdraw within your cities, I will send pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into enemy hands.
Yeah.
You got something to say about that shit, man?
No.
Pestilence?
Really.
No.
I'm just
That's
tired of it.
disease, right? He's going to give disease.
Yeah. It was actually in the vocabulary words already. Not that I remember any new words. Are you at the age where like learning new words and like retaining the knowledge of new words is hard?
Yep.
Okay, good.
It's actually
okay, good. Your mind's deteriorating.
It's actually an early age. Like you stop like accumulating like a database of words fairly early. It's like less and less all the time. When I break your staff of bread,
Again.
What's a staff of bread? When I
don't
break your staff of bread,
it's like a code word for bread with yeast rises. Your staff that rises, it's your glory when your arms akimbo with your shit out.
Scott's pointing to his dick right now. For those of you who aren't watching the video that we don't tape, Scott's pointing to his penis. When I break your staff of bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in a single oven, and they shall dole out your bread by weight. And though you eat, you shall not be satisfied. So he's basically going to give you...
That sounds like some sick shit.
Like a tapeworm or something, I
don't know, man. I think, like, if we continue with the fact that the bread that's getting broken is your penis.
Yeah, I don't think it's
like
that.
10 women are putting it in an oven.
I think he's... Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe like he's got 10 women that point and laugh at you, like you make you feel really stupid. Look at that broken bread.
That's your punishment. Scott's really like exposing all his insecurities on today's podcast. But if despite this you disobey me and continue hostile to me, I will continue hostile to you in fury. I in turn will punish you myself sevenfold for your sins. You shall eat the flesh of your sons, and you shall eat the flesh of your daughters.
Yo, man, you ever eat the human flesh? Because I know this girl downtown. So he's talking about cannibalism.
Is this for real?
Yes, this is the part that's for real.
What I'm saying is, like, is this a metaphor, or is this literally written as I shall make you eat their flesh?
I think what he's doing is he's throwing out a list of like the levels of like disobedience with never expecting anyone's ever going to reach this level. Like you're going for the high score if you reach this point. So I think he's bluffing.
So I don't know though. The problem is he knows these are stiff-necked people, and stiff-necked, there's, if there's 100 stiff-necked people, maybe there's going to be 95,000 stiff-necks that like are going to obey, like up to like they'll get punished like 5 times, 6 times, but eventually they'll turn to him. But in a group of this big, there's going to be stiff-necked people that are going to be consuming their kids.
The stiff-neck crowd and the ultra stiff-necks.
Yeah. Everything's like a degree,
You know what? Maybe you need to eat your own fucking son if you're that stiff-necked.
You shall eat the flesh of your sons, and you shall eat the flesh of your daughters.
Is that because young people are healthier, so they live longer, and they can live longer without food and water? because he's talking about parching the land, fucking them all up with food and water.
Yeah.
So that's at the point where they have to cannibalize.
Oh, it's kind of like the Donner Party.
Right. Or that soccer team that crashed into the mountain.
That might be it. I mean, that might be it. That makes sense.
Maybe you're going to be so crazed and so hungry that you're going to eat your own.
That makes sense. But honestly, it seems like he's just going to like force feed it to them. Like he will literally just feed them the kids.
Let's go with that.
All right.
Because it sounds like a better atrocity.
Not only that, but there's nothing that we've read about Yahweh previously that suggests that he wouldn't do that.
No, right? Exactly.
Yeah, it's not surprising. Okay, Leviticus 26, verse 30. I will destroy your high places and cut down your incense altars. So what? Like that's like where we like smoke our weed, you know,
well,
like our high places, like the
your,
dome.
The high places? I was going to say that like your places of worship.
Yeah, the places you love.
Maybe, the places you love.
I will heap your carcasses on the carcasses of your idols. I will abhor you. That's like Holocaust shit. He's talking about like what they did in the Holocaust. That like people were disgusted by that. They discovered the Nazis were doing this. Apparently, it's okay for Yahweh to do the same thing. Heap your carcasses.
And I gotta assume that when the Nazis buried the mass graves, they threw all the Jewish shit in with it too.
Yeah.
Unless it was valuable and they can melt it down.
Yeah.
Right? Like Jewish pictures and Jewish idols or whatever.
Yeah, that they didn't give a fuck about. They kept the art. They kept the gold, you know.
Yeah.
All right. I will lay your cities waste. I will make your sanctuaries desolate. And I will not smell your pleasing odors. Like that one, you know, like, did he have to include that one? Like, is there one person who was like, oh, no, like, that's their one fetish. Like, their one fetish is thinking about Yahweh smelling their odor. It's very hard to talk while you're doing that.
Sorry.
I can't say how hard it is to, like, talk while you do that. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm getting excited, man.
I know, go ahead.
Man.
I know, go ahead.
No, you're making me feel like a jerk now.
No, go ahead.
No,
I mean, it was important.
We're here, we're having some drinks. I just got out. I'm having a little party with my friends, and you go acting like a jerk.
Nah, I was just kidding. Maybe you haven't heard. I don't shine shoes anymore.
All right, so, no, what I'm thinking is it's being read wrong. It's being lost in translation.
Mm-hmm. About the pleasing odors?
Right, because remember the pleasing odors were that they got the formula right for the ship or whatever.
Yes.
Right? So he's like, I will lay your cities waste. I'll make your sanctuaries desolate. And then he's like, oh, but then I won't smell your pleasing odors. Like now he's questioning himself. It's taken out of context. Like the delivery's wrong. And he's like, oh, shit.
Oh, like
that kind of upsets him. Like he doesn't really want it. Like he needs their pleasing odors.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that he doesn't really want to do all this, right? He's just like sort of like whipping them into a frenzy so that he doesn't have to do this because they still need to perform shit to help them lift off.
This is, again, bad management. He's threatening his employees to impress the higher-ups.
Right.
And then he realizes eventually the employees are going to walk the fuck out.
Right.
And now he's got to go
There's a fine line. There's only so much that you can take.
He's going to go to his commanding officer and go, yo, I showed them. He goes, yeah, but there's no fuel in the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fuck you and how much you showed them.
Yeah. I will devastate the land so that your enemies who come to settle in it shall be appalled at it.
This place sucks.
You and I will scatter, and I will scatter among the nations, and I will unsheath the sword against you. Your land shall be a desolation, and your cities a waste. I know Scott's had a good amount of wine now because he's starting to smash the glass into his microphone.
I did it like 3 times. Actually.
You do need to find like a space where it's more comfortable for you to like reach the glass. I feel like, you know.
That's like the most enabling. That is the most enabling thing anyone's ever said to me.
It's just awkward. Like I'm looking at you, like you're all scrunched in. You know,
I'm trying to stay on them. I'm trying to like follow all your rules before you leave my cities to waste.
I mean, the Prima
You're not going to smell my pleasing odor if you keep it
The
up.
first rule should be stay on mic, considering we're.
I'm on the
speaking.
mic a lot now.
All right, so that's the only rule you need to worry
Yeah, but that's
about.
why the glass is inconvenient, because I have arms that are connected to my torso, that are connected to
And
my neck
you,
bone.
I will scatter among the nations, and I will unsheath the sword against you. I feel like he repeats a lot of shit. Like he just says it in a
You
different
feel
way.
that? You feel that?
Yeah. Like we get it. Like you're going to send your enemies against me, and I'm going to get fucked up. Okay.
Yeah.
Then he goes on. Then the land shall enjoy its Sabbath years as long as it lies desolate, while you are in the land of your enemies. Then the land shall rest and enjoy its Sabbath years. As long as it lies desolate, it shall have the rest it did not have on your Sabbaths when you were living on it. Now he's like fucking...
Yo.
He's like, and the land's
You
going to
know-
be like all good
Yo,
and like...
Nobody likes you. Not even the land
Yeah.
you're standing on.
He's
What
like
the fuck?
using the land to like make people jealous.
Do you think maybe he's got to get to the point where he's got to start dumbing it down? Like, even dirt doesn't like you. like he's got to like bring the like now he's all right. I used the 6th grade insults.
He's
Then
really
bring in the 4th grade insults.
You're right. He's really starting to be
Your
petty.
mom is so fat is next
He's being so petty right now.
because they're so stiff necked.
But again, it's like I think he started off with the nuclear bomb option. And now, you got to build up to the bomb, so you start off with, like, the pleasing smell and the land, and then you go to, you finish it off with animals eating your children. You don't, have animals eating your children and then follow it up with a whole bunch of other shit. Because as a parent, that's where I'm stopping.
Yeah, after you nuked me, I'm not really caring about much. Yeah.
So
I'll be glad I made it to the land of my enemies.
Yeah. So he brought out the nuclear option too early, now
he's not good at this.
He seems petty.
I've worked for guys like this.
Yeah. He shot his load too soon. That's what happened.
Good thing you didn't pull out, right?
And as for those of you who survive, I will send faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies. So he's going to make them cowards, right? Faintness.
Okay.
The sound of a driven leaf shall put them to flight. See, he's making them cowards. Yeah. And they shall flee as one flees from the sword. And they shall fall, though no one pursues. And he says, and they shall flee as one flees from the sword. And I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. I'm fleeing from a sword. Like,
yeah.
I'm not ashamed.
Fast forward to 2022. Eventually, you're going to flee from a mass shooting.
See you later.
Later.
They shall stumble over one another as if to escape a sword, though no one pursues, and you shall have no power to stand against your enemies. You shall perish among the nations, and the land of your enemies shall devour you. And those of you who survive shall languish in the land of your enemies because of their iniquities. Also, they shall languish because of the iniquities of their ancestors.
Yeah, he's piling it on thick.
And we're not even close to being done yet with Leviticus. He continues.
You see? I told you we might have another episode out of this.
Leviticus 26, verse 50. But if they confess their iniquity...
I have that as 40.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
50.
It's absolutely 40. But if they confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their ancestors... in that they committed treachery against me, and moreover that they continued hostile to me, so that I in turn continued hostile to them and brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised heart is humbled, and they make amends for their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob. So, I want to bring something up here. He basically says here, if they confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their ancestors. So you might have to confess for some shit that your grandfather did, but now because Yahweh's punishing your grandfather sevenfold, through no fault of your own, he's turned his back on you. So he's going to make you do all this shit too.
Yo, man.
Go ahead.
This is a technique that's still being used by the police in the interrogation room, man.
Really?
Yo, just confess, man. Yo, just confess what you did and everything's going to be all right.
Yep.
Yo, tell me what your buddy did. And in the back of your head, you're like, snitches get stitches.
Right.
But he's like wearing you down.
Right.
It's a freaking interrogation
I
technique.
think that's only the beginning of it. I think if, in order to make the best analogy, you get locked up for some shit, and then you have a kid that winds up getting locked up for that shit that you did, and then they're telling the kid, if you don't want to get locked up, confess. But you're the one that did it.
Oh, wait, I missed that. Wait.
You missed that?
So wait, you're not the one that actually did it? You just have to like go on the news and say you arrested 5 people in Central Park that didn't commit the crime?
So listen, in verse 40, he says, but if they confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their ancestors, right? So you know how Yahweh's always saying, I'm going to punish you sevenfold? So he's saying, if you pray to a golden calf, I'm going to punish you sevenfold. So that could mean not only will you be punished, but I'm going to punish your son, his son, his son. I'm going to punish you sevenfold through 7 generations. So verse 40 is saying, you have to confess for the sins of your ancestors. So some shit you didn't even do.
Yeah, sounds like some Klingon shit.
So to use your police station analogy, when you said it's like you have to confess to some shit you didn't do, I'm like, not even. It's like your son having to confess to some shit that you did.
Or didn't even do.
Right. So, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob. I will remember also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham. And I will remember the land. For the land shall be deserted by them, and enjoy its Sabbath years by lying desolate without them, while they shall make amends for their iniquity, because they dared to spurn my ordinances, and they abhorred my statutes.
So, no, I don't know who Jacob is. I don't know who Abraham is. I don't know who Isaac is. Maybe I could be coerced into remembering. If you stopped acting so stiff-necked,
Right.
confess what you did, and maybe I'll remember those covenants.
It's unbelievable how he's always making these deals with these people, and they enter into the compact, but he's always changing the terms of the agreement. It's really that has been the theme of the Bible. Like he's constantly like adding little notes into it.
Why is he negotiating? If he did all this shit like the Bible claimed he did, like why is he even negotiating with these
Again,
people?
we've already figured out.
Yeah.
He found the worst group of people that he can find to fuck with, and he's just fucking with them. I think that's how we have to look at it.
Do you think it's like one of them 80s movies? Like he was dead to take the ugly girl to the prom? And of course they took her glasses off and straightened her hair, and all of a sudden she's like a prom queen. Like that's how this is going to end. The Israelites are like the prom queen.
No, I don't think they're ever going to be the prom queen.
And then they find out that it was a dare.
I think there's no happy ending to this story.
Not yet.
Yet for all that, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not spurn them or abhor them.
What them?
Abhor
Thank
them,
you.
so as to destroy them utterly and break my covenant with them. For I am the Lord their God. But I will remember in their favor the covenant with their ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt, in the sight of the nations to be their God. I am the Lord. These are the statutes and ordinances and laws that the Lord established between himself and the people of Israel on Mount Sinai through Moses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Leviticus 27 ends with a section titled Votive Offerings. I don't even know what that is. I barely read through it. It's like 34 verses. How important is it, Scott?
It's really short. So I was thinking let's drag out Leviticus one more episode.
Yeah, no, let's finish it up.
Basically, no, dude, man, I don't understand this freaking chapter at all.
There's a lot to talk about.
No, I don't think there's a lot to talk about because it's pretty short word wise.
Yeah.
But he talks about when a person makes an explicit vow to the Lord concerning the equivalent for a human being.
Yeah.
The equivalent for a male shall be from 20 to 60 years of age. Basically, he gives the worth of males and females in certain age groups.
Yep.
And I'm going to point out, males are worth more than females.
Okay.
Which continues in 2020 America.
Well, I think is he talking about tithing? Like if you're this, you have to tithe this amount, and no?
I don't know, because he says when a person makes an explicit vow. I don't know about this, man. If it concerns an animal that may be brought as an offering, any such that may be given to the Lord shall be holy.
Yeah.
You can't afford the equivalent. The priest will assess them.
I think he's basically providing rules for the kinds of offerings that go to him and what kind of offerings they should be, how much someone should spend on them, how much they're worth, right? That's basically what we're talking about. Honestly,
I got a page and a half of notes, and I don't understand even my notes.
I gotta tell you, I'm done with Leviticus.
But we don't want to miss any important parts.
I read it.
Could you imagine? Wait, could you imagine? We get through this whole book,
yeah,
and we've set a movement on fire, and then somebody comes up and go, "Yo, did you not read Leviticus 27
verse 6?"
And me and you look at each other and go, "Fuck, that's the one we didn't know."
All right, so you know what? Let's read it right now. You ready? Let's do it. Let's do it on the air. I've got it open.
But we said we don't do that on the air.
Let's go. I just did it with Leviticus 26.
Do it quick, man. Do it quick. Come on. Go.
Yeah, quick. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Leviticus 27, votive offerings. You listening?
Yep.
All right. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when a person makes an explicit vow to the Lord concerning the equivalent for a human being, the equivalent for a male shall be from 20 to 60 years of age. The equivalent shall be 50 shekels of silver by the sanctuary shekel."
Yeah, keep it moving, man. Yeah, that's the currency of the day.
If the person is a female, but what is this for? Speak to the people of Israel. When a person makes an explicit vow to the Lord concerning the equivalent, a person makes an explicit vow to the Lord. So you're vowing something to the Lord.
You're selling these people to the Lord. You're selling them to be like people on that starship you were talking about. Okay. That's what this is.
You think that's what they're talking about?
Like when
you're pledging a person.
You're jammed up. Like it's like Yahweh's pawn shop.
All right,
dude. It is, because he talks about redemption. Like you can redeem these people.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's go.
If the person is a female, the equivalent is 30 shekels. If the age is from 5 to 20 years of age, the equivalent is 20 shekels for male and 10 shekels for female.
Yeah, different age
I don't
groups,
understand.
blah, blah, blah.
Who's getting that money? Who's paying who? Is the priest paying like people for that?
Yes, like I'll take them on board the starship. He's paying different age groups, different sexes, different.
Okay. So again, if the age from 1 month to 5 years, the equivalent for a male is 5 shekels of silver, and for a female, the equivalent is 3 shekels of silver. And if the person is 60 years old or over, then the equivalent for a male is 15 shekels, and for a female, 10 shekels. If any cannot afford the equivalent, they shall be brought before the priest, and the priest shall assess them. The priest shall assess them according to what each one making a vow can afford. If it concerns an animal that may be brought as an offering to the Lord, any such that may be given to the Lord shall be holy. Another shall not be exchanged or substituted. So this is basically like shit that he'll accept.
My theory fell apart.
For his ship, right?
My theory just fell apart.
Why?
I'll let you keep going when it gets to the redemption part for 100.
If it concerns any unclean animal that may not be brought as an offering to the Lord, the animal shall be presented before the priest. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on to Leviticus 27, verse 14. If a person consecrates a house to the Lord, the priest shall assess it, whether good or bad, as the priest assesses it, so it shall stand. And if the one who consecrates the house wishes to redeem it, blah, 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 I don't care. Which part should I skip to? I am so done with this.
Real quick, he talks about redeeming. So if I'm giving you up for money, they give me money, but he talks about assessing what they can afford. I'm sticking with my original theory. I give you up to the Lord.
Yeah.
There's a waiting period. He's the pawn shop.
Yep.
And if I come back with what he gave me plus 20% interest, I can get you back.
Right. So you can redeem a tithe.
You can redeem the human being you sacrificed to the Lord.
Yes.
And now he's talking about a house too. Oh Lord, you can have my house too.
All right. So this is basically like the rules for like when you bring shit to the priests that they will offer for the offerings that they will make to Yahweh.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring like this animal to the priest that they're going to offer to Yahweh. I'm going to bring this person to the priest and they're going to make this person an offering to Yahweh.
And listen, I think what this is saying is if you don't have like the goats and the material offerings, you have to offer people. But they'll pay you for the people.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, okay. Yeah, this is bad. This is getting bad, man. It's going to get real ugly right here.
You think so?
Yep.
So, I mean, that's going to end their time. Are they going to move at any point? Are they going to leave Sinai?
Dude, are you forgetting? Did you miss something? Skip. You got to skip down to, forget the Jubilee crap, blah, blah, inherited land holdings.
Yeah.
Jump down to 2726.
2726. Okay. 2726. Leviticus 27, verse 26. A firstling of animals, however, which as a firstling belongs to the Lord, cannot be consecrated by anyone, whether ox or sheep, it is the Lord's. If it is an unclean animal, it shall be ransomed at its assessment, with 1/5 added. If it is not redeemed, it shall be sold at its assessment.
No idea what that's about. And who cares? Go to 28 now.
Yeah. Nothing that a person owns that has been devoted to destruction for the Lord, be it human or animal or inherited landholding, may be sold or redeemed.
Yeah, read the next sentence.
Every devoted thing is most holy to the Lord. No human beings who have been devoted to destruction can be ransomed. They shall be put to death.
Yeah. So like I give you up because I can't make the other offerings.
Yeah.
I'm selling you to be like fodder for the Lord.
Devoted to destruction can be ransomed. So this particular person gets this label. Let's say we stamp them on their forearm with a set of numbers.
That makes sense. Yeah, keep
right?
tracking them. Yeah.
That person, we're gonna use them for fuel.
Yeah, yeah. And no, sorry, you can't get them back.
Right.
You can't redeem them. You want this fucking goat back?
Right.
Give me 120%.
Okay.
You want your house back? Give me 120%.
I mean,
sorry, Rusty. I don't know where he is.
I don't think you're wrong, Scott. I don't think you're wrong. And by the way, I think another important lesson we learned is what my level of tolerance for the length of a podcast is, because I think I've reached that level about like 5 minutes ago. Like for the last 5 minutes,
30 minutes ago,
I'm like, you know what? An hour 45 is like my tolerance for being in a room with Scott and talking to Scott and listening to Scott and looking at Scott and just like being in Scott's presence.
And you will know my name is the Lord. Yeah. My tolerance is about an hour and 15 now.
Is it?
It's gone up, yeah.
An hour 15?
You know me, I was like 45 minutes to an hour when we first started. That's where I wanted to end it.
But again, I'm not saying my concern is I'm thinking people won't want to listen. I'm saying me personally, like right now speaking in my head, I'm just like, I'm done with, I don't care, like not externally, just me personally, an hour 45.
That's fine.
You're talking about your concern with like other people listening to
the amount
podcast.
of consumption one person can have of all of it.
Yeah, I think you need to stop worrying about that. And
I don't
make
think
it more
you
natural.
need to tell me what I need to do and what I need to worry about, man.
I just said I think. I didn't say you have to.
Yeah, and you can,
I just said
keep those thoughts to yourself.
In my opinion. Why? Why should we're literally doing a podcast and you're telling me to keep my thoughts to myself? What will I talk about?
Rusty, sit there and shut up. And I'm going to end this shit like a half-hour episode.
Really? All right. Are we ready to end this? So wait, before you click it, I see you've got the mouse in your hand. You're
said,
about to
we
click.
ready to end it? And I couldn't say yes or no because my hand was nowhere near the mouse. Why don't you calm down, man?
You're like
stop projecting.
You're like
your
my wife. You know what my
man.
wife does? It drives me. It really like fucks with my anxiety because I don't know if you know I'm anxious.
I didn't know that.
I'll be parking the car like I'm backing into a parking spot, right? And you know sometimes you got to make like little adjustments. Amy's already like, she's unbuckled and she's like opening the door, you know, like it's like, and I gotta constantly tell her I'm not done yet. Close the fucking door.
My father does that too. He reaches for the door, but like, you know, a lot of modern cars, if there's two, you put it in park.
Yeah,
the door doesn't unlock.
Yeah.
So he always like, I'm not done yet. yeah, that's a thing.
So, yeah.
I'm thinking, but your wife probably the first second she can get out of a close space with you,
I'm
she's
not
running
saying it's not justified. I'm just saying it's not safe yet.
So now, listen, man, we're in.
I think we have to also acknowledge we finished Leviticus.
We did
We're
finish
done.
Leviticus.
Episode 30.
I'm so glad we're done with Leviticus.
I mean, there were definitely some fun parts of Leviticus.
There were some fun parts, but now in retrospect, as we look at the clock, we're at like an hour and 50.
Yeah.
You don't think we could have broken this into 2 episodes?
No, because Leviticus 27 we didn't discuss for that long.
But we would have finished 46.
Yeah.
And in 47 we rushed through it. But now if it was a new episode, we'd have our stupid banter in the beginning. We'd talk about, you know, the latest mass shooting, the latest stupid law.
But I think we only would have talked about Leviticus for a short amount of time. Tops like 20, 25 minutes. Tops.
Well,
Leviticus 27.
Maybe that's all we should be talking about. Things.
I mean, maybe. Then it would have been a 40-minute episode.
All right, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to push this on the interwebs as like a blockbuster, like movie length.
Mega. I can't push it on the internet because we're banned from like our #1 promotional tool, Twitter.
Well, maybe, like I said in the last episode, we need to switch to like something where we can tell the truth.
I have our text message exchange today that I edited. Like I blacked out like your face so they can't see that it's like you, and it's like our exchange of like you asking me about the AC, and then we go through the banter about like you know the stupid or funny thing. I took a screenshot of that. I was gonna post it on Twitter, you know, but I can't do that because
maybe the universe is working out the way it's
Twitter
supposed to
because of you.
All right, man. That was like 2 hours ago. That was a problem.
Yeah.
Still a problem?
Yeah.
It's 2 hours. Get over it.
All right.
We done, man.
Yeah. Peace out, everybody.
Wait.
We won't see you on Twitter because we're banned.
And we're done with Leviticus.
Nice.
Yeah.
See you in numbers.
Yay. Very few numbers, probably.